Hello and welcome to Just One More Watch. Welcome today to the review of a watch that doesn't raise the bar, it lowers the bar. It's a $100 Seiko powered GMT game changer from Pagani Design. We all know that Seiko dropped a bomb onto the budget four-handed market earlier this year with the release of their SSK model, which contained the 4R34. Now, I've already looked at 2 micros containing the movement, but we all knew it was only a matter of time before they filtered down to AliExpress. Now, Pagani have released 2 models featuring the NH34. One of them is a straightforward update of their old GMT-master 2 lookalike, including the lefty. The second is a slightly more ambitious Worldtimer bezel model. I included both of these in my top 10 sale video a few weeks ago. Now that sale unfortunately is over, but a new sale has just started. It's the Black Friday sale and it runs for about a week. As such, this video is sponsored by the Pagani Design official store on AliExpress. I do not have to send the watches that they sent me back to them. I'll leave a link to both of the watches in their store in the description of the video. I will also leave a discount code in the description of the video, taking even more money off that. You should pick one of these up for just over $100. Now that's just over $100 for a stainless steel Seiko powered GMT with sapphire crystal. Is it perfect? Of course not. It's a Pagani. Your money is spread very, very thinly considering the specifications they offer for $100. Is it worth $100? Let's flip the camera and have a look at it. All right, there it is, straight to the money shot. That's why we're here today, folks. The Seiko NH34A. 24 jewel, hacking and hand winding, roughly 40-hour power reserve, and frankly, a fairly poor state of tolerances permitted from the factory, those being -20 to +40 seconds per day variants. There is zero decoration, no perlage, no Tokyo stripes, and this one comes with a stock rotor, and yet this thing is the hottest ticket in town right now. Why? Because of that fourth hand pointing down between 4 and 5. Now I have reviewed $100 GMTs by Pagani and by Parnis on the channel before, my only Parnis review as it happens. They were kind of like buying a car from a Chinese brand like Chery or Great Wall. Heaps of showroom appeal, but it's only a matter of time before the engine dies and they break down, and I said that in both of those videos. The switch to the NH34 means you're now getting a Toyota engine for the same price as one by Chery. This is the fourth watch that I've looked at containing the NH34. The first was by Seiko, priced at around $350, the second by Borealis, priced at $399, the third by RZE, priced at $460. So that really puts this Pagani into context, doesn't it? $105 for a broadly similar set of specifications. You have seen these little Pagani boxes, I'm sure, before. You wouldn't really want any more packaging for $100 outlay, I don't think. But you do get one of these glorious little blue polishing cloths. These have infiltrated every area of my life over the last few years. Now, the Worldtimer is the one I'm going to concentrate on today, but I will show you some shots of the Master 2 lookalike as well. They are identically priced and almost identically spec'd. They both have the same set of dimensions, those being 41mm in diameter, now reflecting the increased size of the Submariner from a few years ago. 12.8mm thickness, a manageable 47.4 lug to lug, 20mm lug width. There is actually a nice taper on that Jubilee down to 15.5 and then back up to 17.5 for the clasp, by the way, and sized up for me, 7-inch wrist, 137 grams. Case finish is very simple, high polish on the sides and a brushed finish to the upper lug surfaces. You can also see the brush finish to the bezel here with a decent amount of grip available. Now I prefer the Jubilee to the Oyster style. I like that mix of polish and brush you get there as well, and it's a really good crown on these. 7mm and very, very grippy. It does stick out a bit though, but it's such a nice crown to use that I forgive it. It also has the Pagani logo etched into the side. The Jubilee is the same bracelet as I've seen fitted to other Paganis in the past, all stainless, 5-link, 3 centre links polished and the 2 outer links satin brushed, high polished sides, solid end links, screw adjustment links, and the typical Pagani clasp with the brand name etched in landscape. The clasp has a security fold over and all machine lower portion and features Pagani's interpretation of Rolex's Easy Link system, that flip-flop on the fly adjustment. There's about 7mm of toolless adjustment available using it. It does have 3 stages of internal adjustment though. I'm not going to tell you that it's an easy class to adjust because it isn't. Maybe I'll do a Pagani mod vid at some point and try out some different clasps because they are still a weakness for sure. If you hate jingly jangly Jubilees, do not fret, you can pick up a 3-link Oyster style instead. High polished centre section, brushed outer links and the same slightly weak clasp as the Jubilee. Different bracelet, same price. While we're talking of weakness, let's have a look at the loom early today. My contact at the official store assures me that this 1662 version 2 not only features anti-reflective undercoating beneath the sapphire crystal, but also improved loom, and it kind of does. Initially at least. The one on the left obviously features a loom-filled ceramic insert, the Worldtimer on the right does not. But if I turn the speed up on these, you see that after a couple of minutes it doesn't really matter about the bezel insert. You also see that at the end of the 20-minute test you can just about make out the time. Perhaps that's an improvement over previous Paganis, but the bar was pretty low to begin with, wasn't it? Dial and hands are very much still in the Rolex mould, at least in terms of the shape and placement of the indices. Indices are applied, triangle at 12, rectangular batons at 3, 6 and 9, and circles everywhere else. Pagani logo is also applied on this Worldtimer version. The brand is printed on underneath, and it just says GMT and automatic above the 6. The Batman lookalike has a printed logo and also adds information about the depth rating to the text above the 6. Both models feature a Cyclops above the date at 3. Now from some of this footage, the Cyclops looks pretty useless, doesn't it? But that's only because of the incredibly narrow depth of field from my macro lens. It's actually quite good in use. I think it's the more noticeable 2.5 times magnification, worth noting if you need a date but need a little bit of help reading the date these days. Bezel inserts are obviously different on each of these watches. The Batman features a shiny, traditional ceramic insert, fully loomed as you saw, with the standard format of numerals at the evens and small circular dots for the odds. The Worldtimer features a Worldtime bezel insert, which looks like aluminium, not ceramic, but don't quote me on that. Now, it features both 3-letter codes of the cities and the hours difference from Greenwich Mean Time. This results in a very busy insert and very small numerals. Now I did have a bit of fun trying to work out Pagani's interpretation of the Worldtime cities. Most of them are familiar, but there are a few that I haven't seen on other Worldtime bezels, including Wellington rather than Auckland, Pago Pago in American Samoa, Halifax in Canada, which is YHZ, I presume that is Reykjavik in Iceland, and the one that I still haven't worked out, FEN, which is apparently 2 hours behind London. If you can enlighten me, please leave me a comment. The 4 hands on the Worldtimer are all high polished gold, a little rough around the edges under macro, but that's to be expected for the price almost. If I now refocus on the dial though, you can see some nice circular brushing and a slightly darker circle connecting all of those indices. I think it's little touches like this that separate the Worldtime version from the 100% lookalike homage mould, and it adds just a little bit of character of its own. On wrist it is a standard Rolex alike though, actually pretty slim at 12.8, the lug to lug is short-ish, but the case is quite flat. Slightly top heavy as a consequence of the Jubilee perhaps as well, though I still prefer it personally. Those extra links mean extra comfort, and I'm always more inclined to wear a Jubilee loose. I don't mind it rattling around the knuckle, as you'll see from the pocket shot. There is definitely evidence of AR undercoating, that kind of blue tinge, but you still do get some bounce back because it's flat. I simply cannot complain too much about that though for the money they're charging. And here are pocket shots for both watches, both on Jubilees, both loose around the knuckle as discussed, and at 140 grams for a 41mm case, that's actually a little lighter than I would have expected it to be, so it's therefore a little easier to wear loose. You can afford to have it rattling around a bit more than you would if it was heavier. Alright, moans and niggles, I've kind of mentioned a few already, haven't I? The loom is okay initially, but not quite as okay after some time. The clasps are unnecessarily complicated and tricky to adjust. The Worldtime bezel may be quirky and a point of difference, but the numerals are bloody tiny. If you actually intend to use the GMT hand regularly, maybe opt for the other version. The bezel, by the way, is 120 click dive time unidirectional. You don't get a dedicated bidirectional GMT bezel for $105. And with this much watch for this little money, there are a few rough edges, shall we say. If I zoom in on the Batman bezel, you can see some machining marks in the ceramic. They aren't really visible via the naked eye, but my macro lens picks them up quite easily. There's also a rather jaunty angle when the two colours meet at the 6. It shouldn't look like that, by the way. And have a look at the hand location in this static shot the crown is pulled out. Minute hand and second hand all pointing to the 12. The GMT hand should therefore point directly at the hour, that being 6. But it looks 15, maybe 20 minutes off. No such problems on the Worldtimer, it's bang on. But I say it once again, these may be trying to look like luxury watches, but they are not luxury watches. They offer incredible specifications, but they are certainly not made at the rate of one per day by artisanal watchmakers. But if you simply must get on board the GMT hype train that has been gathering pace over the last couple of years, to be honest, this is the cheapest way you can do it, with a reliable mechanical movement in the back of the watch. My pick is the Worldtimer on the Jubilee just because it's that little bit different and because the Jube is super comfy. But you go for the one that you like the look of. There are certain advantages to the Master 2 look-alike as well as discussed. Is this the cheapest Seiko powered GMT that we're likely to see, or can someone lower the pricing bar even further? I'll tell you one thing for certain, if they do, you'll see it reviewed on this channel. So there you have it. Where can prices go from here? Will we see a $75 NH34 powered GMT next year? Do we really want to see a $75 NH34 powered GMT? This one is obviously a total spec monster with a few question marks around the quality control. Buy it on sale, buy it as cheaply as you can, and if you're watching this video when it's not on sale, then just wait for a sale. Honestly, it won't be too long. If this watch doesn't tickle your fancy, why not check out one of my all-time favourite affordable GMTs, the Phoebus Eagle Ray GMT or the Vostok Amphibia GMT. Thanks for watching this one. I hope to see you all again in a future video.